Hello, I'm Brandy Agerbeck of loosetooth.com. I write, speak, and teach about drawing as your best thinking tool. And I wanted to welcome you to Studio Tuesday. I wanted to introduce you to give you a tour of my tiny itty bitty studio. I am somebody who has always been self-employed, and this is the third time I've had a separate space outside of my home to do my work. So historically, I have worked either on site with my client or at home, and I have two very good reasons for renting out this space. One is they are doing a very long, very loud construction project where I live in a high-rise condo in Chicago. And two is I have a very lovely man who moved in with me a couple years ago. So I needed a quiet space to be able to record videos and write blog posts and write articles and write books and do all these things. So I found this space. So this space is it's maybe 150 square feet. It actually reminds me of the White Stripes song, Little Room. When you're in your little room and you're working on something good. So this is my space for working on something good. All about visual thinking. So I just wanted to give you a quick tour of how the space is set up and the kind of work I am doing here for you. Yeah, okay, so, got a little flip chart behind me. Not a lot going on it today other than a little welcome, but got the flip chart there. Here, we've got one big, beautiful flat wall. And what I like is that I can use the wall itself to hang up giant pieces of paper. But then right now I've also got the pin board in front of it. And this is a Neuland pin board where it is a pin board with felt covering. And what I've got for you here is the two most urgent projects I'm working on right now. One across the top here is the Start Shaping course. So this is a free online mini course really helping folks understand how to transition from reading the idea shapers into putting those ideas into practice. And you'll notice some of these little cards up here are flipped over. That's not that I don't know what they are, but this is a very simple little trick you can use with cards on a pin board, is that the ones that are flipped over are the ones that I've already recorded videos for. So when I come back here to the studio, I can very quickly see exactly what I need to work on next because it's not flipped over. So just a really, 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 really tiny trick, flipping those cards over so you get a very quick sense of what has been done and what needs to be done. And then we've got a course here called Pyramid Power. This one is all about scale and hierarchy and organization. This is something I see come up a whole lot in the lab. So the lab is a 3-day course. I teach all about visual thinking through the lens of graphic facilitation. And this actually came up during one of the labs. I did a demo of how much information I can fit into a relatively small space, hunk of paper, because I'm making some decisions about color and scale, typography, all these things. I kind of make these decisions up front, and that really helps me organize my thinking. And what I'm really excited about this one is that this course is fantastic for all sorts of types of visual thinkers. It can help you if you're working on little itty bitty index cards, studying or writing speech, crafting a speech, or anything where you're sort of organizing with a stack of cards. Same thing. It really is great for organizing sketch notes or visual note taking. It is great for working on flip charts, definitely, when you're capturing what's happening at the front of the room on a flip chart. Also scales up to graphic facilitation. So this is one of my first courses because it has such a fantastic breadth of uses. So, so first thing is Start Shaping. Second thing will be Pyramid Power. So yeah, that's on the pin board. And I definitely have stuff on the other side of the pin board, but what I'm trying to do is put the most urgent things in my view all the time. And one thing I find really fantastic is having put this pin board up in the space has really helped to reduce my sense of feeling overwhelmed. And that's, could be my number one reason for using visual thinking full stop, is that I've got all these different projects I'm working on. I might have notes in my sketchbook, but just by getting everything in a consistent format on these cards, that I'm able to get a sense of like, oh, okay, this is what I'm working with. And really placing the cards in important places where the things that are most urgent are on this side, and then there's kind of like the next things, next steps, the next projects on the other side. So pretty simple, but a lot of really great surface area there to do planning and strategy and keep myself on task. Here we got the lighting kit, so not in use at the moment, but ready and ready to go. I'm really lucky. This office has 3 windows. So even though it's teeny tiny, one whole wall is windows. So that makes a huge difference in being able to make these videos look nice and clean and easy to watch. Now, I'm going to show you the thing that most people geek out about the most. And that is the bookshelf of supplies. I'll certainly be doing more videos and blog posts and all that sort of thing about materials, what, you know, how to choose good, healthy, accessible materials, how to use them, but just to give you kind of a sense of what's going on here, I've got Luna, my light bulb. I actually created that for the book launch of the Idea Shapers in Chicago, and you see the doors right there. One day, Luna fell off the wall and landed, like wedged itself between the bookshelf and the door. And so when I opened the door, this bookshelf had a lot less on it. When I opened the door, the entire bookshelf fell to the ground. So that was, unfortunately, this poor little hand has been patched back together. Yeah, so I've got my books up here, and then I've got, let's see, on this shelf we've got tons and tons of Post-it notes and Monoilin inks, so I can refresh markers whenever I need to. Another thing full of Post-it notes and Marker Central. So I've got a set of markers at home. I got a set of markers here. I can do work anywhere I need to. More paper, books, all sorts of good things. So that's kind of the Supply Central area. And then if we come around here, let's go kind of over my shoulder here. We've got my 2 horizontal working surfaces. So this is where I can sit down and draw. And back there is the is sort of like the big main desk, and it's actually the same components from IKEA that I have back home in my home office. That is way cleaner than my home office, which is crazy pants. So what I like about this setup here is that I've got a nice big surface to work on. If I'm working with a stack of index cards, I can move them around a lot. And it's facing the wall. So this is fantastic when I really need to focus. There's very little visual information here other than like sort of like a little organizer full of pens. And I've got these 2 lights ready to go, illuminate the space. And yeah, what's fantastic is it really gives me a chance to focus. So when I need to be in the zone, I use that desk. And then this guy down here is really fantastic for when I need to be facing the room. So for instance, I'll sit here when I'm working on adding to the pin board. What we've got here, let's see if I can see this here, is actually just a setup from working on the pin board. So I've got the color, excuse me, I've got the cards. That's my wallet sitting there because I just got lunch. Like this little notebook over here, that's kind of mission control. This is where I've got all my main notes on what I'm working on. One side I focus on the personal sketch notes and drawings around what's sort of going on for me personally, and one side is kind of the professional business stuff. But this is, if I've got this notebook with me in the office or in the studio or at home, I know I've got all kind of like the most important, most immediate information. So this is one of the things that floats back and forth between my home space and this itty bitty studio. And yeah, and what I like is that, you know, it's a pretty, you know, like I said, it's kind of a little space, not a whole lot going on, blank walls, ready to go. There is, I can move the table around, I can move the pin board around, I can move the flip chart around. There's a lot of good flexibility here. So, you will find this, a lot of the videos I'll be recording will be in this space. And because I'm in Chicago, I don't know if you can hear it, there was a siren going by. So that's going to happen too. So welcome so much to my itty bitty studio, where I look forward to making more and more and more images and videos all about visual thinking. And if this interests you and you want to reclaim drawing as your best thinking tool, please go to loosetooth.com. At the bottom of the homepage, you'll find a place to sign up for the newsletter. So if you sign up for the newsletter, my email list, you will be able to get all the latest and greatest on these courses. So you get the first notice of the start shaping when it's done, the pyramid power when it's done, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching Studio Tuesday. And in the meantime, draw on.